Okay, now I titled this video today, "The men that women date, or the men that women date or marry, are typically far different than the men that women want to sleep with." Okay, let this sink in because you and I truthfully have so much to dive into today and there's so much to cover. Let this sink in and just kind of marinate on that one more time. The men that women date or marry are typically far different than the men that women want to sleep with. Now, this needs to sink in because you have to be able to identify and you have to be able to understand how a woman categorizes you, okay? Every single time that you meet a woman and you guys maybe go out on dates or there's chemistry or you can see that this might go somewhere, whether that be leading things to the bedroom, leading things to, you guys going out and having a great time, leading things to whatever the case may be, relationship or dating one day. A woman has you in a specific category, okay? Just like when you date, you will typically make, certain preconceived notions regarding the women that you're around. You start to get an idea of their personality traits and how they behave. So this is very important to understand and to realize that women will categorize men differently. So I'm going to read this word for word with what I have because I want this to sink in the right way. It is very important to know how a woman is categorizing you so you can play your position accordingly. Now, what does that mean, play your position accordingly? That means if she has you in a category as far as let's say hypothetically, let's say she wants to sleep with you, or let's say it's all based on arousal, it's all based on sexual desire, that has nothing to do with her emotional attachment or her emotional investment towards you. Okay, I'm going to be breaking these down into two categories today with the men that women will typically sleep with, and then we're going to go down to the second category and I will show you step by step the men that women will date or marry and how to know and how to identify what category she has you in, okay? That way also too, you can get a good idea of how you want to pursue things with a specific woman due to the fact that you know how she's probably viewing you. Now, before we dive into this, you got to understand, this takes a level of social calibration, this takes a level of being able to read people, and this takes a level of patience. You have to watch, a woman's words, you have to watch her actions, you have to look at her vocal tone, her nuances, the way she's saying certain things, okay? Very important to know and to understand. Now, category one, the men that women will hook up with or sleep with regularly. Okay, if you're this type of guy where a woman is wanting to sleep with you, you probably have an edge to you. When I say an edge to you, this means you're probably very masculine. You probably are a bit rough around the edges. Typically, oftentimes, this is based in certain levels of arousal. Okay, that's going to lead to the bedroom. You're a guy who doesn't probably do things by the book. Okay. She doesn't look at you as a stable, monogamous, committed guy. So the men that women will typically hook up with or sleep with regularly, this is typically based on arousal. And basically, she just finds him hot. She finds him hot and she finds him arousing. And he has high amounts of sex appeal. Okay? Now, you have to be able to realize this and understand this. She is interested in sleeping with him, but desires zero emotional connection. Now, this is probably going to come as somewhat of a shock to you because in your brain, logically, you would assume that if she's sleeping with you, that automatically means she likes you. And guys, this is just not the case. A woman could not like your personality, okay? She could not even have that much interest in you as a human, but just because she finds you hot, she's able to sleep with you, okay? And women will oftentimes do this. So read this with me one more time. She's interested in sleeping with this type of guy, but desires zero emotional connection. Meaning she doesn't want it to go anywhere. She doesn't need it to go anywhere, and she just doesn't care. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. She wants to be able to hit up this type of guy once a week or every other week, a couple times a month when she's feeling aroused or when she wants him or she's craving that type of experience with him. She'll go and she'll see him and then she'll leave and she'll exit. She's not trying to get to know him. She's not trying to plan more dates with him. She's not trying to invest emotionally into him. This is purely a physical connection that she has. It's purely based on arousal. So here's what you got to understand. If you have a woman that you're dealing with and she views you as this type of guy, meaning it's strictly just sex, and that's why she keeps you around, is just to sleep with you. The second that this type of guy tries to date her, or she senses that he wants something more, he's now stepped out of the category that she mentally has him in, and it's over like that. And the reason why it's over is because she had an idea of you, she had a perception of you, okay? And as soon as that perception was broken, she lost the desire and she lost the arousal. You have to understand, with women, a large majority of their attraction, and specifically their sexual attraction, is mental, okay? It's the imagination. It's stimulating that imagination and stimulating that fantasy that keeps her guessing, and not only that, wanting to actually think about this guy in this specific way. So the second that this guy wants something more or pushes for something more, it's completely over. Now, like I said, for a lot of you hearing that, that's going to come as quite a bit of a shock. And the reason being is because in your logical brain, you're going to be sitting there thinking, well, she's willing to sleep with me. She likes sleeping with me. Okay, she's doing all these naughty things in the bedroom with me. Obviously, she likes me. And this is just not true. A lot of times, the men that women sleep with, they don't even like them on a personality level. They don't even like them on a human level as to who they are. It is purely based on arousal and sexual attraction, and that's it. That's what she uses him for, and that's the value that she sees within him. Now, let's look at the second category, category number 2. The men that women want to date, or the men that women want to marry one day. What are the character traits of this type of guy? This is typically a guy who she looks at as a good long-term bet for her, meaning that he's probably stable. These are the men that are textbook good guys and oftentimes textbook stable. Okay, when I say stable, meaning they have a good job, they do things how they're supposed to do, they are polite, they're probably well-mannered, they probably take care of her, they demonstrate all of the nurturing, caring things that a woman would want in a long-term partner or in a long-term relationship. These men are kind. Okay? To make this as simple as humanly possible, things that are chaotic, things that are even slightly toxic, and things that are edgy leads to sexual arousal. A man who is kind, who's caring, who's compassionate, this is going to lead to a relationship. However, this has nothing to do with sex, and over here, this has nothing to do with a relationship. They are two separate categories, and women categorize these men differently. So the men that women want to date, or the men that women want to marry, these are typically men who are very stable. They probably have very good jobs. They have good careers. They're going somewhere in life. Not only that, she wants him to take care of her. And she wants him to take care of her because when she looks at that man, she looks at him and goes, he would probably make a good dad one day. I could see this guy being the father of my children. I could see this guy leading me and leading our family. Okay? Once again, this has nothing to do with arousal. And I'm saying this because this is probably going to piss a lot of you off, but you have to understand this so that way when you go out on a date, you know exactly how that woman is viewing you and how that woman is categorizing you. Now, this is polar opposite from the men that women sleep with, and here's why. When you're a man that a woman has categorized in the stable category, the good provider category, or the category where she would want to invest in you emotionally for the long haul, meaning she wants to either make you her boyfriend or one day she wants to make you potentially her husband, obviously. She's emotionally invested in him and probably loves him. Like if you asked her to be truthful and you said, do you love that man? She would say yes. But here's what you have to know and here's what you have to understand. This has nothing to do with sex or her sexual desire or her sexual arousal for that man. Absolutely nothing. Oftentimes, the men that a woman loves with all of her heart, she doesn't even view him in that way a lot of times, where you would think that it leads to all of those naughty things in the bedroom. She views this guy as the type of guy she can take pictures with, the guy that she can hold hands with, the guy that she can write love letters to on Valentine's Day, back and forth. They are two separate categories. Now, this guy who is stable, this guy who would be a good boyfriend for her one day, the second that this guy wants to do all of those naughty things in the bedroom with her, she gets disgusted. She gets repulsed, and she doesn't like him anymore. Because that's not how she views him. That's not how she looked at him, and that's not the category that she has him in. Women will oftentimes categorize men very, very quickly. This is the type of guy who is in the friend zone because he's too friendly. This is the type of guy who's edgy and chaotic. And this is the guy who's sexually arousing, so that's the guy that she chooses to do those things in the bedroom with. And this is the guy that she loves with all her heart, and it's her boyfriend. All three categories are completely different, and oftentimes there's no overlap between them, which means what you have to do is you have to actually analyze your life, you have to analyze how you want to be viewed, and you have to make sure that you lay your cards properly, because each man is probably wanting different things out of his dating life. You as a man are probably wanting certain things out of your dating life, and the only way to get what you want is you have to know on a deep level what category that woman has placed you in. This right here is exactly why the men that women date or marry are typically far different than the men that women sleep with. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.